Real quick before we get into today's video, just want to thank the people over on Patreon who have taken the time out to help support the channel, and just got to say thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for your support. Once I start offering memberships and figure out what to offer for memberships on this channel, I'll start adding the names of YouTube members as well. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get into the review. Yo, what's going on everybody? It's your boy Naruto Explained here, bringing you guys a review for Boruto episode 180. And now that episode 180 is done and in the books, I think that we can all rejoice because we are now going to the Vessel arc, better known to fans of the manga as the Owl arc of the Boruto manga. And for anime only fans, this is the time where you got to start looking at characters like Mugino and Victor, and you got to appreciate what this car actuation arc has done in terms of setting them up. Because going into this Vessel arc, when it got announced, I was very pleasantly surprised that they showed as much as they did in the Boruto versus Kawaki trailer that we got over there in Japan. And so I say that to say all this is just the setup for us to getting Kawaki. And what I find most interesting about this episode here is that it really feels like what they try to do is they tried to just cement in full the character arc of Mugino. Just how last week's episode focused on Victor and kind of just having Victor become a fully sympathetic character, they're doing the same thing with Mugino here. And as a manga first reader, I gotta say I actually appreciate this because I actually like and care for the characters now. In the manga, I didn't give two shits about them. I'm just gonna be honest with you. Like, they were down there in my trash bin with Kaguya. So I like little small things they did. Now, the other thing I'll definitely say is that this episode, I'm just gonna keep it a $150 with you. I didn't think it was much of anything special, but I think that there were some opportunities for special moments, and there were some moments that were very well done. So I'm not gonna call this a trash episode, but I'm not gonna sit here and cap either and tell you like, yo, this was a super exciting episode to watch. I'm not gonna say that. Now, the thing that I think some fans will miss is the irony in this episode. So in this episode, they talk about how Hinata's birthday is coming up. So for fans over here, the thing to keep in mind is that for us, it is December 27th, okay? That is Hinata's birthday. And in this episode, they say, oh my God, Hinata's birthday's coming up. The episode airs on the 27th. However, this is the thing to kind of keep in mind too, though. So a little known fun fact that some of you guys might not know is Japan, in particular Tokyo, is 16 hours ahead of my time zone. And so as of this recording, it's almost midnight over there in Japan. So technically, by the time you guys are seeing this review, it's no longer Hinata's birthday. And so the episode, that was a kind of nice little wink wink nod right there to the fact that, oh, okay, this is airing on the same date of our queen Hinata. When it comes to this whole reveal with Mugino, okay, so I thought that was cool. They did just enough to get this character over in this arc with the fans that when you get to the events of the Vessel arc that is coming up in a couple of weeks, when you get to that moment right there, which as a reminder, the anime is going to be on break next week, but once we start getting into the events of Konohamaru and Mugino's S-rank mission, they've done enough to where he's over with fans to point where fans actually care about the character of Mugino, and so now they're actually going to root for him. In the manga, Mugino, nobody really gave a shit about him. Anybody that tells you that they did, they're straight up capping at this point, and that's how you can tell that, like, yo, they got introduced to the character via the anime and not actually via the manga. But I thought they did a good job of contrasting how things were back during the era when Naruto and Konohamaru and Mugino were growing up versus the current era that Boruto's in, because you have a moment where even Boruto looks at it and says there's no way that things are actually like that. What I like here is that, you know, you find out that like when Mugino was younger than Boruto is now, Mugino was being sent out on missions to assassinate people. And what's so interesting about that is the fact that, you know, when they do the flashback of the third Hokage made him immediately. And so I thought that was kind of cool. And I thought that was cool. I thought it was cool to kind of introduce introduce this new generation of fans to the third Hokage, because in the time skip arc you got to see Tsunade as Hokage. So in this brief moment here, you got to see so much of what they tried to build up in the anime for Hiruzen Sarutobi as being this loving grandparent slash parent to so many children in the Hidden Leaf Village. And so I thought that was alright. I thought that was alright right there. And I thought it was pretty interesting how one of the things that Hiruzen does is he says, okay, child, you got this curse mark, and he allows Mugino to stab him. And at first I'm thinking, okay, did he allow him to stab him because he was forming that hand seal and was gonna potentially try and undo that curse mark? But then at the same time, what you find out is that in that moment, Hiruzen had already created a shadow clone and used this opportunity as a way to draw out those actual attackers that were focused on Mugino and watching him to make sure that he carried out the mission. And if he failed, the curse mark would go off and kill him. And if that's something that sounds familiar to some of you guys, that's essentially what Danzo had on Sai. Sai's curse mark was a little bit different, but all the members of the Foundation had a curse mark on them. It was a little bit of a contingency plan for Danzo. And so I like how they kind of contrast how different this current era that Boruto's in was to the era that Naruto was in. And this is one of those times where I always say it's better to show than to tell, and that's what this episode did. In the past, we would have gotten stuff like how we got with the Hidden Haze Ninja. Remember how I kept saying, like, man, it'd be really awesome if they actually showed us the damn tree, they showed us the origin and the connection of those Hidden Haze Ninja, instead of just a quick little flashback with a couple of still frames where you see them eating a bowl of oatmeal, whatever the hell they were eating, and just that little small moment where they were smiling. I said, man, that's a bullshit way to try and connect. That's terrible writing. Well, in this instance right here, this is what happens when you actually show the actual scene in question. And so I thought that this was something that worked better. Again, this episode wasn't nothing special, the same way that when you go back to that Haze Ninja episode where the Haze Ninja had them all trapped inside that stupid ass earth style mud pit that they were in, and they're in that pit for 15 minutes the entire episode. Well, in this one, you spend a lot of time in Mugino's apartment, but because you're getting that flashback as a viewer, it doesn't feel like you're stuck in the apartment a super long time, because you're getting new information, you're living in the moment, and you're seeing the character from a different lens. This is the proper way to introduce a flashback, and this is the proper way to add context to the character. And taking this method really could have helped those Hidden Haze Ninja back during the early parts of the car actuation arc, because when you look at them and you look at Mugino in terms of what you got in this scene and just this flashback sequence here, Mugino got more character development than those Haze Ninja got, and it's because of how it was actually handled. That kind of goes back to what I said before, show versus tell. They showed you how Mugino got to the point that he is now, so now you fully understand the character, whereas with those Haze Ninja, they're supposed to be sympathetic and yet they ended up being utter trash. And one thing they did very good when they did this was they kind of jumped in and out of the flashback to establish smaller things in Mugino's apartment, because one thing that you see in that apartment is he's still got the photo of the third Hokage. And even after coming to Konoha, all these years after first meeting the third Hokage, Mugino still lives like a child soldier. So it kind of shows you that what happened to him in his past is still affecting the way that he behaves today. Because if you look at his bedroom, there's nothing personable about it. The only things you have is the bare minimum, is stripped down to the essentials. And when you really look over there by his window, you could look at that ledge right there that spans across the whole side of the room, or that side of the desk that it looks like it might be. You could look at that and say Mugino probably sleeps on that. If not, he sleeps on the floor. Again, that's that child soldier type of mentality, because when you're in a situation like that, you don't have luxuries and you don't have amenities. And you even see Mugino kind of tell Boruto that it's more freeing that way, and it's because of how his childhood was actually set up. That's what I mean when I say the flashback was done in a way that it makes you look at what's going on with the character now, and it also allows you to look at the room, and the room takes on an actual personality of itself. The room itself is almost like a character. That's why showing is more important than telling. They're really going out of their way to form a emotional attachment between the audience and the character, and if you read the manga, you understand why this is so important when it comes to the character of Mugino. And they've even gone so far as to actually give Mugino a pet turtle in order to just give him just a little bit more in terms of his character to really hit fans in the gut. And I think that little small details like that, like having Mugino promise to pay Boruto back and have Boruto take care of Mugino's pet, little small things like that, it makes the audience look at a character who got introduced as being very stoic and very stiff and uptight, very by the rules, very functional, if you will. It makes them look at that character a lot differently. And when you look at how they had that room set up, again, a person's room says so much about them. And in the character of Mugino, basically, like I said before, he's living like a child soldier, and everything that you see in that room, it is functional. And the thing about any type of a soldier, anything like that, they view things in that type of a span right there in terms of functionality. Does it serve its purpose? When you look at Mugino, he came to Konoha with the intention of becoming a ninja. The only thing that Mugino needed was a place to put his food, a place to lay his head, and he needed a desk to do his mission reports. And when you look in his room, that's everything that he had. When you look at as far as containing food and everything, there's no need to refrigerate anything there, because everything he's eating is stuff that is going to be stuff that can be taken on the go like that. So again, everything that you see with Mugino, it goes back to what happened with his childhood, which again, that's very good writing in this sense. This was not a really good episode. I'm gonna stress that enough. This was not a good episode, but there were good moments in the episode. So my episode question to you guys is, how do you personally feel that they've done with Mugino's character in this car actuation arc? And between Mugino and Victor, which character do you think had the best character arc and the best character development? Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. But as always, guys, if you like anything I have to say, don't forget to comment, rate, subscribe, and share. Thank you so much for watching to the end. Have an awesome day, guys.